Kind of Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont, and with me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
Doing very well, Sarah. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I like how you put nothing on the news.
Yeah,
Right.
there's really, well, obviously there is stuff going on. Obviously I know before the show we were just talking about the California wildfires in LA, and definitely our thoughts and everything go out to everyone who's been impacted with it. Obviously folks have lost their homes, and no, obviously, we definitely see the people who are we talk about sometimes on the podcast, who've lost their homes and stuff, but there's so many other people who work, just work in the industry, and also just Joe and John Hughes citizen who, have lost their homes or have been dealing with the evacuations. I was, checking with our friend Jackie, who we've had on the show. She was sharing how, it was just unnerving, how she and her husband were having to evacuate and go home, then evacuate, and it was, just hearing that and all that. So, yeah, and I'm sure plenty of our listeners who, hopefully no one has lost anything, but if you have, we're thinking about you and let us know how we can help. But also, if you're, dealing with it, even if you haven't lost anything, but no family or friends who have, we're thinking about you.
Yep, definitely. And we hope that if you're listening to this, you can use this next hour to escape from all of that,
Yeah.
from everything.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, it's wild times. Yeah, between here in North Carolina, we're still dealing with the impacts from Helene, and now this. It's just yeah, it's just a crazy year. And then I know you and I were talking. I know the other news thing. I know we were just joking about. I won't say lighter news because it also is impacting folks. Is what's going to happen with TikTok here, and maybe at the end of the week. So not only just from a user, but that I know you are, but also just the folks who poured a lot of their energies of being content creators and stuff. You do have to
yeah.
think about that. Yeah.
I just want to make it clear because I feel like in the very brief times that I've brought up TikTok, Will has this idea. I'm I'm obsessed with it. I am not obsessed
I'm
with it.
not. Yeah.
I'm a healthy user of it. Um, I just I've only had it maybe a year. I honestly it feels like it was just yesterday.
Mhm.
Um, and it's found its way and it's like carved out a time when I do my scrolling.
Yeah.
And so I'm a routine person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. I
never
didn't take
been
it that you were
messing
like
with my
obsessed.
routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're messing with my routine and I don't appreciate it. And I have collections of videos that I prefer to watch. I don't do any content. I barely even send messages. And I have done my due diligence. Like there are a few creators where I'm like making sure that I'm following them on Instagram. And one of the creators, I had no idea how much she posts. And
Mhm.
maybe it's just not because I don't follow that many people on Instagram. But my God, every time now I go on Instagram, I see every all weird stuff. Like I'm like, oh, okay. Um, but and I have I was telling Will how last night I became a TikTok refugee over on Red Note. So I did do that, okay?
Yeah.
I don't it is pretty much the same thing. They are working on changing like decreasing the language barrier and I just was amused. I did it mainly because I was amused by the so many, so many videos on TikTok right now that
Mhm.
are talking about people who are going over to Red Note and now suddenly starting to want to learn Mandarin.
Yeah.
And just all of these different things. And just the
Uh,
irony of it all,
it
especially
really is.
Red Note that is a thing in China
Hmm.
because TikTok is banned in China.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the irony, like it just yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot. I don't know. I don't think I have a feeling that uh Red Note will not necessarily become what TikTok was. Um, I think some other platform's gonna like come up and steal that thunder because I know that some people are going on there and then immediately getting kicked off because it's a lot stricter with the
Hmm.
rules.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
and then there's all this like in a way TikTok was Americanized.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. It was. Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
I
and
mean, I never used it. I mean, to be in complete transparency, I mean, I briefly like, you know, because we do have our social media presence for the podcast. I did set up an account, but I barely, I hadn't opened it in like probably 2 years or whatever, because it was just like, for me, it was just one of those things. I did, I looked at it and I was just like, eh. And then also just, I guess just from my day job too, it was just sort of like, I heard all the horror stories about, bad actors and what could be utilized for. So I was, so I was already kind of like, kind of leery of it anyway. But yeah, but it is funny, like you noted that, uh, people are jumping to a platform that,
another
uh,
Chinese palette platform. Yep.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
another, yeah,
often.
yeah. I
And
mean, it's the,
it really is the same thing. Like
mhm,
I was
yeah,
on there. I don't know why people are struggling to do their login. At first I was like, oh man, I wonder if I'm gonna run it. It took me less than 2 minutes. I'm just like, how are people
yeah.
struggling with this? And if you're struggling with it, yeah, I don't think you deserve to be on.
Yeah, but exactly. But I was just thinking what you were saying too, is as far as like, other platforms, because, like you had the mass exodus with Twitter, and then like last week you had people with the exodus of Threads because of what Zuckerberg said. And, and it's, obviously social media is in a totally different place than like, whenever we met years ago via Twitter, compared to what it is now. I mean, I don't know if we would have like, because the engagement factor there is just not like it used to be. Uh,
No, but then again, I don't think like Facebook
yeah,
is not what it was in its heyday. Like
yeah,
all of these social media, and boy, this is never what our podcast is about, but it's a very interesting conversation to have.
yeah.
But all of these, they're flash in the pans. They're
Hmm.
like the moment, and it has and it has the eyes and the users and the followers or the people. But then the moment something happens, and maybe it's almost because social media allows so much more information to be shared
Hmm.
that we're starting to like it's starting to work against itself
Yeah, yeah.
because like these people behind the scenes can say or do something, or it can be found out that shady shit was happening, and then suddenly people will disown it and be like, oh, I don't want to use that, you shouldn't be using that.
Yeah.
I'm still on Twitter, and I guess I can't say that I feel like the engagement has really changed because in a way I know my kind of engagement has changed. um so it's a weird thing of like, well, has the app changed or is it like just a me thing? I don't
I
know.
think, yeah, I think it's a combination of both, because I think there's still, it used to be, and I think it still is in some cases the town square for things, for live events. I think, sports Twitter, for example, I use it for, pretty much for that now. And, so like when football games or, those kind of things are going, yeah, my usage is sort of how I guess the 2015 me of Twitter, how I used it then. But then like other stuff, I mean, I think because of streaming, like, there used to be, because especially like with TV shows and stuff. I mean, I think it's that engagement factor like we used to have, like whenever we met, talking about the Flash. I mean, it's just not there anymore, because I think streaming has, like, people can watch stuff on demand. So yeah, I mean, some folks will, if a show like, for example, Skeleton Crew just dropped his premiere this evening. So some people will probably still go and do that live watch and live watch along. And I guess, occasionally if I have an opportunity to do it, I have done it sometimes with like House of the Dragon and some stuff that, like, okay, well, part of it is just like, watch it now because if you don't, you're going to get spoiled.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, and like you said, I think it's a combination of like how we have adapted as far as our usage of it first, and also how the apps have changed over time. So I think it's just I think it's a combination of things, and how how you use the platform.
Right.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people who really like the platforms, they ultimately become the creators. And then the moment you become a creator, you're not so much into like you find your niche.
Mm-hmm.
and then it just, and it becomes kind of fixated, and it's it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of this week, because I know there's now potential legislation to have it delayed, being banned. And we'll see what happens with Red Note. Like, it doesn't necessarily, it's been existing for years without America.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's like, it's like Blue Sky.
yeah.
It's been over there. And then now everybody's discovered it, and everybody's heading over there, and the same problems that happened on Twitter, are now happening on Blue Sky. It's like, bots following you on everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that leads us into our discussion. Will really wanted to do this. In fact, he listed like 15 movies before I could even list any. And so I'm looking at his list and I'm like, well, I'm not sure.
Well, I figured there'll be some cross-pollination with some of them,
Well,
I mean, there's, I honestly, I put it down so I could, no, huh? What's that?
No, nothing.
No, I was gonna say,
I told you before the show.
yeah. No, I honestly, I did it because I was like, I'll forget half of these if I don't write it down in the show notes.
So are you really gonna go see How to Train Your Dragon?
I think I might. I'm actually very curious to see that one, just to see how it translates into live action. I did like the animation versions of that franchise. So whenever I saw it was actually coming out in June 13, I was just like, oh, it's actually already here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, it was like part of it too is just have kids, have kids. So it was one of those things, and that's how I got into it.
Absolutely. I have seen Frozen, everyone. Okay. I have seen Frozen. I haven't seen Frozen 2, but I have seen the original. And that's about it. But yeah, and I do know that you're looking forward to the first one on your list, because I feel like you've mentioned it at least every time we talk since I want to say like end of November, if not.
Yeah, I even like, I had in the film that Sarah's talking about is Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. It's on Netflix now through January 3rd. I'm waiting for my my wife and daughter to get back from their trip to watch it, because it's a staple in our household as far as the Wallace and Gromit franchise. And but yeah, it's a follow up to one of the shorts from a few years ago. Well, I guess they're shorts. The Wrong Trousers. And so looking forward to that one for sure.
And I don't feel like I have seen anything about this, but I'm sure you've told me about this, but can you explain to me what is Star Trek Section 31 that is coming out on January 24th?
Yeah, so that one is a spinoff from the TV show Star Trek Discovery. It was one that we didn't cover here on the podcast. But yeah, there was a character, Michelle Yeoh, was a character in Star Trek Discovery. She played a multiversal character, and her the multiverse doppelganger was an empress of the Terran Empire, and she came into the Star Trek Prime universe, and she became an agent for a clandestine organization in Starfleet called Section 31. And so she greenlit this before she really, I mean, she's always been like popular, and she's, you know, had a great career. But before she won the Academy Award for Everything Everywhere, they had greenlit this movie in the Star Trek universe. And so, you know, so even after she, you know, won the Academy Award and stuff, she's like, nope, I'm coming back. I made a commitment. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna do this project. And so, so this film will premiere January 24th. Star Trek has not been in the, you know, main theaters, you know, for many years now, but Paramount Plus is they're going to take the approach of doing some streaming films. So this is the first one that they're doing, and so yeah, so, you know, I'm curious. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I know a lot of folks in the Star Trek fandom are. I think some folks are holding their breaths, but based off the trailers and some other things. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'll probably do a review on my Star Trek show about it once I watch it.
Yeah, he probably will do a review.
Yeah, whether I like it or either one way or another, whether I love it or hate it, I will definitely share my opinions on it, and here too. Yeah.
That's what a review's for. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it should drive people crazy if they tune in to hear someone's thoughts about movies or TV shows or just art in general, and anything and everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that should raise a red flag.
Yeah, it should. It totally should. We have had no shortage of giving our true opinions on this show over the 7 years we've done it.
Right. Or if all they want to do is just recite everything that happened, it's like, okay, cool. Like, unless sometimes I enjoy it when it's not that they're expanding upon it.
Yeah.
Like, especially when things are based on other media. Like, if you can get an expanded idea of what like all of the Easter eggs, all of the behind the scenes, some of the mirroring that happens, like that is great. But to actually just restate the plot and be like, yeah, and I enjoyed it. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to February 14th, a movie that we've already talked about. We've already talked about the trailers for. We're going to go see it, and then we're going to both share our thoughts on it. Yep. Is Captain America, or as Will put in the notes, Captain American 4.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, you're calling me out on my notes. All right, fine. We said so much about the film, so you might as well. Yeah, we don't need. Yeah. You can poke fun with me on that. That's fine.
Okay, it's okay. I spell Viltrumite 4, 6, 7 different ways.
That's okay. I know. No,
Invincible. So
nah, it's all good. I mean, there's nothing more that needs to be said about Captain America. So I'm glad you like. Thanks for.
Captain American.
Captain American. Yeah.
Okay. There's just something about this where I am a bit holding my breath on this one. And I similar to Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Where I don't know. It's a 50-50. I might go just have a really good time and then completely forget about the movie. That probably will happen, but it's mainly the reshoots that go on a lot in my mind, specifically about Captain American 4. But yeah, I have a little hesitation. However, I will admit the other week during the Golden Globes to see all of the Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie love, I'm just like, okay. Even though Sebastian Stan won't be in this movie, as I remember myself, but still there's a connection. Okay, you support one, you support the other.
Yep, yep.
It's the true bromance.
Totally,
They
totally.
both don't like Tom Holland. No. Oh man. Yeah, so that'll come. And I forgot about this one, Will,
Mhm.
but I'm glad you put it on your list because I have seen the trailer and I did think to myself, that's one I'll probably be like, oh, should I go to the theater? And then ultimately decide not to and eventually watch it on streaming. But it's Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson.
Mhm.
The trailer is really interesting. Do I fear that they gave away a lot of stuff in the trailer? Absolutely. And by give away a lot of stuff, I also like it's not the same thing as saying I feel like they told you the whole story because I don't
No,
think they did.
no.
My hesitation though is did they only show us the best parts?
Mm. Like
You
Tenet?
know, like there's always the risk of that.
Yeah.
And I think about that and it's kind of buried in my subconscious a bit because I still remember leading up to Suicide Squad.
Mm.
Not the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad. And I know it was a few many years ago.
The
And,
The David Arrow one?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
yeah. And everyone was raving about the trailer.
Hmm.
And I listened to like so and watched so many people react and review the trailer. And only one person said, I don't know. If you think about it, the trailer is just good because they play a song over all of these action beats, yet
Mm.
you barely hear any dialogue.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, oh, okay. That's a that's a very and we know how that turned out. And
Yeah.
it's just like, wow, you caught something. Like there is a way for them to sell you on a movie being good
Hmm. Yeah.
without you even realizing just because they edited the trailer so well.
Yeah. Yeah. True, true. But with Mickey 17, I mean, I think to your point about whether or not they released too much, what I remembered as a trailer, I just remember that there's dueling clones. And and it was definitely one of those ones that I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to see it. And I probably will see this one in the theater. I mean, I think maybe part of the reason, I know you gave me grief about the list, but honestly, I think maybe I'm making up for like given that 2024 just didn't have anything that was like really where I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my ass in the theater to watch it. So maybe this year, pretty much everything I have on here is I will probably, if not check, I will probably more likely than not go if it's in the theater, we'll go see it. I mean, there are a couple of things like Wallace and Star Trek that are streaming only, but most of these I'll probably will catch in the theater.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'll be out in on March 7th and then in April on April 18th Sinners
Mhm.
starring Michael B. Jordan and I'm blanking on the director name.
Oh, Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. Yep.
Yeah.
Classic collaboration here and it's going to be a vampire movie.
Yeah, he's playing again another situation where the lead is playing dual roles because Michael B. Jordan is doing that as well in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, that's an interesting career.
Yes, yes.
If you really look about, still remember watching him on Friday Night Lights.
Mm.
And even before that on God, I hate sometimes how old I'm getting with my blinking of The Wire.
Oh yeah. Mm.
I was late to The Wire, but I did watch The Wire after watching him on Friday Night Lights. And so that was really jarring.
I bet. I
but, but yeah, just an interesting career and
For sure.
yeah. And in case anybody's wondering, I'm probably not gonna go see Sinners. Um not because of of the creative team behind it, but mainly because I don't do horror movies. Nope.
Nope.
Mm,
Nope.
nope.
Nope. Yep.
Nope. Nope.
Yep. Yep.
Too much
Yeah.
of an active in imagination. I can't do it, and I live
Yep.
alone. So I just can't.
I totally understand. Oh, if I have nightmares, you would be like, well, I told you.
I can't picture you having nightmares. I
Oh,
picture you getting scared, but I can't have nightmares.
yeah. It's been known to happen. It's been known to happen.
Um, I also appreciate this is in chronological order. It's all nice, and we just got like we move. It's moving quickly with it, but Thunderbolts, which we will both be seeing in theaters, and we will
Yeah.
both be sharing our thoughts about whether Will wants to or not.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it, and it's another one where I don't know
Yeah.
if they only edited in the best parts in the trailer, or if they left some for us to be surprised by. But
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, this is one of those ones where I just feel like it's an obligation to go see
yeah,
at this point. I'm not.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for new listeners, whenever the trailer dropped, I was just like very lukewarm on it and that's probably being generous. And this is not one that I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very clear that you're team Captain America 4 and I'm
Yeah.
team Thunderbolts.
Yeah. and we're both team Fantastic Four, so I think so it all evens out.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not be team Pedro? How can
Yeah,
you not? Okay,
exactly.
come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, Fantastic Four is the month of July. I mean, just skipping ahead a little bit, which I'll backtrack in a moment, but skipping ahead, like the month of July, where it's not really obligation so much as if I know you're going to get your tickets ahead of time, but your struggle to get Wicked tickets, I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, how is he going to make it in July to see not one but two of these movies?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to. I'm hoping I'll be lucky like I was with Oppenheimer and got lucky enough to get a ticket to a review screening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping because yeah. I mean, I don't know if the demand signal was as high for Oppenheimer as that was for Wicked, but you're right. Whenever they do the event sales, probably will go ahead and get those things locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did talk about Superman a few weeks ago. We both really enjoyed the trailer. And of course, looking forward to the movie after that. I do love the fact that we're still in January and knock on wood have yet to see anything
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Four related.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I need I need it to like go as long as possible.
Super Bowl.
I know it won't. Yeah.
We'll get it. Yeah, I think we'll probably get a teaser Super Bowl.
Yeah, which a teaser these days is pretty much a trailer. Okay,
Yeah.
I've noticed they've stretched that word far more than necessary.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're gonna capitalize the
It's like,
whole The Last of Us season 2
yeah.
and just like, oh, if you like this guy, you can see him in July playing a superhero.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I happened to see a story on comicbook.com, just speaking of Pedro and Last of Us 2. Our theory last week that I probably dropped the 13th of April. They pretty much confirmed that was probably going to be the case, given that the White Lotus will, go until go into that month. So
that's the strategy that streaming services need to have. I am surprised that more don't I don't find more streaming services doing this strategically of like as soon as this show ends, you need to retain your audience. So you need to
Yes.
come back with like what you need to come back. You can't like let weeks or months go on without nothing.
Right.
I don't like Netflix's schedule.
No.
Like Netflix has never really figured out a good with their K dramas, they know what they're doing because they do tend to conclude one and then immediately drop a new one. Which is fine. But I don't understand why why for the American products it doesn't do that as well. But
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've been waiting for the last season of You to appear on Netflix for at least 5 years. I
We'll
know.
get a
I'm
TV.
pretty sure
Yeah,
it
we'll
was
get a TV
2 years
next week.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I think
yeah,
I did see where there's coming out, but yeah.
Oh no, I know it's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's coming out in February, but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So to backtrack to
Oh,
May.
yeah. Before you backtrack, have we come up with I know one of the things we were trying to come up with was like what to call July, and it's like, is it super full or is it super tastic, or have you thought of anything like we had with the whole Barbenheimer?
Oh, I thought that was homework for our listeners, not for me.
Okay, yeah, and for our listeners, but those are two I just thought of. Just
Okay.
wanted to see what your didn't know if you had any thoughts about that, or if our listeners like that or not.
Of the
Let us
two
know.
that you just came
Yeah.
up with? Oh no 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 no. You're gonna have to tell your children those, okay? And run
Okay.
those by them, and then come back to me. 'Cause
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I
I
don't know.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just like, I know they're lame, but I figure, just give it a shot.
Yeah.
I have no pride off the ship. I know they're lame, but
It's okay. It's okay. They're basically dad jokes. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
So on that note, we're gonna definitely go back to May because we'll always go and see the Mission Impossible movies.
Yes. Yes, I will. Yes, I
Is
will.
this
May
the Invincible
23rd. Yeah.
saga? Is this
Um,
saga?
yeah, yeah. Well, it's called The Final Reckoning, but that's there. I mean, Tom Cruise is going to be like getting wheeled out in a wheelchair, and he's 80 years old, still doing these movies. So even though they're calling it The Final Reckoning, I think that's as much as a reaction to how people were like not happy with how Dead Reckoning was called Dead Reckoning Part One, and so they like rebranded it to be The Final Reckoning. So I guess maybe for this storyline in Ethan Hunt's career, yeah, they were like, it will be the final story for this. But I just can't. I can't see Tom Cruise just like retiring from this role anytime soon.
Yeah, it's like when will Vin Diesel stop doing Fast and Furious movies?
Right, right, exactly.
It's never gonna happen,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
He's gonna be walking with a cane. It's like, hey, let me drive the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then we've already talked about How to Train Your Dragon. Live action will be released on June 13th. And this brings us to The Naked Gun. Is this a remake?
Yeah, that's what Liam Neeson. He's playing Frank Drebin, taking over the mantle from the late Leslie Nielsen.
I have never seen the original.
Oh, talk about like bad puns and whatnot. You got to watch the original. I mean, it's probably pretty dated now, but it still works.
Yeah. A lot of those movies, like, because it was made in the 80s, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The 80s had this kind of niche of these bad pun movies.
yeah.
Which,
Airplane. Yeah,
yeah, which in a way died, but I don't know if that's a good or bad thing per se. I mean, their 2000s definitely had their own version.
yeah,
Scary movie, disaster movie.
yeah. Exactly.
review. Very, very bad. But yeah, so no, I had no idea that this was happening until I saw your list, and I was like, oh, is
Yeah,
that a remake? And that's interesting. Weird release date. Not gonna
yeah,
lie,
yeah.
kind of weird. But then again, when you have like the two biggest movies coming out in July, you're kind of like, where do I put this?
Yeah, pretty much. August is the dumping ground, just like it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So
Which and then which leads us to and you're gonna have to explain to me what this is, but on September 26th, you have the movie called The Bride is listed.
yes, this is the Bride of Frankenstein story, and
Okay.
Maggie Gyllenhaal is going to direct it, and Christian Bale's playing the monster, and Jess, gosh, I can't read my handwriting. Baker, I believe, is playing the bride. Jess Bickley is playing the bride. So yeah, yeah,
Who's playing Frankenstein?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah,
So it's going to be a blue-eyed Frankenstein?
I guess so.
That's going to be weird.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I don't know. I have to see the trailer.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't seen. Yeah, yeah, we'll see the trailer. Yeah, this is yeah. And I was going to say that one last thing about the Naked Gun movie. It was going to be it's my cocaine bear for the year. So where there's just that movie that I just have to go just because. And the
Well,
bride might be that one too.
it might. I don't know. There's something about it. The cast, I mean Christian Bale obviously. Very interesting. But I just realized I got Christian Bale confused with someone else. He doesn't have blue eyes. Anyways, so we're just gonna
You think
move
about
on.
Glenn Powell?
No,
The
no,
other
no,
person, which I know we
no,
got.
no,
Yeah.
no. I'm thinking about Oppenheimer.
Oh, Cillian.
Yeah,
Killian
I was
Murphy. Yeah, yeah, Killian.
totally
Yeah,
thinking about Cillian Murphy.
Killian
Yeah,
Murphy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Glenn Powell, no.
That's joking. Yeah,
I
which
mean,
yeah,
no, Glenn Powell is charming. However, as someone who has still not seen Top Gun 2, I know more tragedies. But I just in the stuff I see him in, I'm like,
hmm,
I'm more like, yeah. Anyway, we're moving on. We're moving
yeah,
on. This is
yeah.
like
We'll get to
can
him in a minute anyway. So yeah.
yeah, because of the Running Man.
Yep.
Who else is in that?
Oh gosh. Let me see real fast. I had it up here.
And I would just like to say this is like the second or the third remake you have on here. Will, that doesn't bode well. Remakes are not usually the best.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Who is else? I don't have who else is in there right now. But I will look. I'll pull it up here while we keep talking. But I know the other thing I had on here is Predator Badlands, and this was the same guy who did Prey. Is going to be directing and wrote this one. And I think in this film, the Predator is actually the protagonist this time.
That's what they all say. They
Yeah.
all say like that does not. I really. First of all, don't tell us that. Don't tell us that. Let us be surprised by it. Or if like the plot really works,
Mhm.
then like want an experience to go into that and then come out of it and be like, wait a second, wait a second.
Yeah.
The Predator was a good guy.
Yeah.
like what an experience. And so now that they're leading with that, it's just is like, oh, okay, so let's see how you Black Adam this, okay?
Yeah.
Let's see
Exactly.
how you
Exactly.
Black Adam this,
Yeah.
okay?
Prey was very good. That was one of the ones that was like one of
Yeah,
my
I
favorites.
remember you talking about Prey
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot. And I have seen a few, unfortunately, Predator movies and a few Alien movies. And this is again why I don't watch horror movies or scary movies
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything with suspense.
Yeah.
Well, while
Yeah.
Will continues to try to
I,
find, you
I
got
got
it?
I got it. Yeah, and I just didn't want to misname anybody, but Josh Brolin's also in it. Katie O'Brien, who she was in season 3 of The Mandalorian, if I recall. Lee Pace, Jamie Lawson, Amelia Jones, Michael Cera, and Daniel Ezra are all the folks who build.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was totally listening, but nobody stood out to me. So well,
Not even Josh Brolin. Come on.
Oh yeah. Well, you led with that, and then you went through 7 other people, and I'm like, I'm losing track here.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, Brolin's good, but yeah.
Okay.
There's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so both Predator and Running Man come out on November 7th, and then Will is going to probably spend the night on a sidewalk waiting for Wicked 2 tickets so that he doesn't get screwed over this time around.
Exactly. I'm camping out. Damn right I am.
Yeah, right. For Wicked 2 for Good, which will come out on November 21st. Any chance of that getting delayed?
I doubt it.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that just means that they made sure to have both parts solely in the can, unlike another film we know where they still haven't gotten that sequel.
For real.
Yeah. And after all of that, the only 2 films that I wanted to just add in there, and I don't have release dates for these, but
I do.
Well, that's wonderful, Will.
Hey, I'm looking out for you, my friend. Looking out for you.
Well, I when I say I'm curious, it means I'm just gonna throw this out here because it wasn't on Will's list.
I almost put, but one of the one you're about to talk about, I almost did put on my list.
You
so
put F1 on your list?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Brad Pitt led racing movies, and surprisingly, for the most part, when it's about race car driving, I tend to like those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not counting Fast and the Furious in that at all. That's not the same thing. So I've seen the trailer for this, and I'm just a bit curious about it. And then I heard about
before you do that, it's coming out June 27th, and it actually is directed by the Top Gun Maverick director too. So
awesome.
Yep.
And then the other one is A Curious Case of. Oh no, never mind. The other one is called The Battle of Bacton Cross.
Yeah.
It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio. I have no idea what this movie's about.
Yeah, so I saw that on your list, and then I was just like, I was looking for the title and I couldn't find it, and then I was like, let me just see what PTA is working on, and that's where I found it. So apparently it's supposed to come out in August. And apparently what little bit of details I have is like Leonardo DiCaprio's like playing some character that's like an ex-con who's being chased by like an FBI agent or something like that, and it's based on a book, but loosely based on a book. But that's all I was able to find out about it.
Yeah, I feel like you just described a different Leonardo DiCaprio film, or at least like 2 or 3 other ones where he plays somebody involved in crime and running from the law.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Christian Harloff brought it up when he was talking about his, like, this is the research I did. I just listened to Christian Harloff's and I was like, oh, okay. I took 2 of them, okay? and no, none of the movies that Will just mentioned were on his list. So, anyways, yeah. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. And then
PTA, yeah. Well, PTA is, obviously Boogie Nights and everything. So I mean, he is, he's I like his work. So I mean, it's definitely will be a good film for sure.
Maybe it'll probably be 3 hours long, and I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So So yeah. So as soon as I talk myself into it, I immediately talk myself out. Just look at the runtime. Yep. Look at that runtime. All right. So that leads us to Invincible season 2, which we put a pause on because Will wanted to, all the way back in March of last year. And so this weekend we both binged the final 3 episodes of season 2. And I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was engaged predominant amount of time. Have I thought about it since I stopped watching? No.
Yeah.
Not really. Not really. But I'm going to stand by this. This is a binge show. I get more out of this when I binge it than when I have to wait week to week. And yeah, Will, why don't you talk?
Yeah, no, I agree. I know I messaged you over the weekend, and I was just like, I finished it, and you shared with me what you just shared here, which is it does work better as a binge. And the other thing that I remember, and I think we talked about this too at the first season, is the back half of this series is so much better than the front half as far as the season. I just felt like these last 3 episodes just really clicked, and I think to your point, it does lend itself to binging. And I was super engaged. I was like, oh, I think we made the right call, but like I think we like took a pause in it to like start talking about 3 Body Problem, a couple other things that we really wanted to enjoy earlier last year. But yeah, I thought that where the series ended, the season ended with Mark being, it worked really well. It worked really well. All right, start over. So yeah, so as I was saying, I think the back half of these shows really work well. I think the thing for me with episode 6 was really just, it really brought up the things that we always see in these superhero shows, as far as like, Mark and Amber trying to figure out like what how the relationship's going to work. And of course it was funny how he and Amber like sought out advice from like Art, and then Amber reached out to Eve, and yeah, and they both were like, look, you guys are like talking to us, you need to talk to each other. So it was just like, so it was, I mean, the 6th episode of the last
happened in that episode, right? You're getting that confused with episode 7.
No,
No, you're right. Because then like the more important thing, because I the whole Amber and Mark stuff and Eve love triangle thing, that didn't really work for me as much as you did. I felt like those were the lower points for me, just because I've seen it so many times before. But it's also important in terms of stakes and a superhero origin story, and realizing that you're different and you can't be normal in that struggle. So it's kind of a fundamental thing to explore in this genre. But during the conversation with Art, Mark tells him about the sci-fi books, which are the stories. Like, my big takeaway from episode 6, it's not that simple. It's just the fact that I love how we stopped watching right in the middle of pretty much a 2-parter.
Yeah.
When I started
and it's funny, I think I did, when I was watching it this weekend, I was like, I think I've watched these episodes already. And then I think we just like running into what we're running into right now, which is like, how do we talk about this show? Because I think we both really enjoy it, but it's not one that we just like feel that strongly about.
And I mean, like, it literally was in the middle of a fight sequence.
Yeah.
And then so majority of sixth episode is the fallout and the casualties and the pain and the anger and the frustration following that. So the fact that I went almost a year having watched the first part and now the second part, I didn't feel any of it. I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, okay, who's this person? Oh, is she dead? Who is she again? How is she? I was totally like the stakes are so low, and it was just a lot of us as a viewer trying to reorientate ourselves in terms of the story. But then as soon as I got past episode 6 and into episode 7, or throughout episode 6, as I became more oriented with the things, I was surprised by how, like, I have no need to go back and watch, because I feel like I'm remembering things, and I feel like I understand the basis. Do I know the people's names? God, no. But I get it. You got Mark, and you got Deb, you got Eve, and you got Amber. How much more do you know? Maybe Cecil. Maybe.
Cecil. Yeah.
Maybe. So and then we get into episode 7, which is where I'm just trying to figure out what I want to say about episode 7. I think that because I not only found myself remembering aspects of this show and this season while watching these final 3 episodes a year removed, but I found myself reflecting and remembering previous conversations about earlier episodes of the seasons we had last year. And I think Debbie has always been like interesting and kind of like, okay, this, I don't know where we're going with this, and interesting and then not. And her whole arc of was a bit jarring for me, because she like assumed mom role very quickly over Oliver. Very quickly. But at the same time, and I'm just gonna get into it, like when we see her with Angstrom, same thing, it's a strum. I just like how she's not a superhero, she's nothing, she's mom, she's trying to protect, and you see that inability to do that basic thing play out with Angstrom in a previous universe, and how that pain as being a failure as a parent to be able to protect your children and have to like lie to them and say everything's going to be all right when you don't really know that. Like, I thought that was so good and so clever to do, because it not only helped us with Debbie and understanding and empathy there, but also just in terms of remembering how this man came to be, and everything that's going on in that head, and the motivation of it all. I thought that just worked so well, and just also throughout these 3 episodes, all of her conversations with Mark, whether it, like, I really like the moment where she talks about her first date with Nolan, and just because as bizarre as it is, they were able to make it feel like an actual start of a relationship, and going through feelings that you would actually feel, and then also counteract with that. But at the end of the day, he's a superhero, and so I felt alone. And it's just, I think the dialogue that they gave her in terms of her interactions with Mark in particular worked really well. And I'm glad we didn't, I think in previous seasons, it's felt too much like a Debbie storyline, and her and Mark kind of cross. When these final 3 episodes, it felt like we had so much more of them, of the mother and son relationship.
Agreed.
Which is vital because of what Mark's going through in terms of his trying to prevent becoming his dad and being able to lean on his mom who's human. So that human versus Viltrumite, who am I more like, that's going on inside him internally.
Yeah, I completely agree. And really can't add much more to that with Mark and Debbie. As far as what we saw as Angstrom was like constantly like torturing him, literally, with you know harming her and Oliver. But and I think as one of the things we were talking about episode 6 and 7, I guess the reason why I brought up the relationship stuff with Mark and Amber and trying to have a normal relationship and the superhero stuff is what we get at the end of this episode, when they are finally able to go out on a date, and then the Anissa, the Viltrumite does come down and really threaten Amber and all that kind of stuff. And again, just to reinforce what you were saying about Mark and Debbie, and also how the goddess and stuff that she was helping, things that she was talking to him about, how she and Nolan had their relationship and how all that, and how Mark is trying to like thread that needle and figure out how to handle all this. I think that the stakes I felt it more this time, when I was watching it, because of the setup that they did, that what you just discussed.
And what did you think about the final showdown between Mark and Angstrom and how that all unravels?
How it all unraveled, Mark felt broken in some regards, because whenever we do end up on that desolate planet, and he loses it, and we just see the fallout from it, and how he's trying to, he's crossed that line, and he's talking to Cecil about it, and all, and he's just feeling so many emotions that he's feeling, given that he's crossed the line. It left me in a place where I was just like, I was really feeling for Mark, because the one thing he's tried, ever since he's been in this role, he's and especially once he discovered what his father is really like, he's trying not to replicate that, and then in his eyes, he did so.
Right. I really enjoyed it because of how it made the Angstrom storyline pay off, because I do remember the first half of the season, and how they did a good job of reminding us through Mark, and replaying the events that occurred to create the Angstrom who's now at the end of this season, who confronts Mark, and you're reminded that, yeah, this guy did want to save. Like, his motivation started off so pure and innocent, but also with morals. Even ultimately, he did save Mark, which led to his own ruin in a way. Because he didn't want his utopia to be created through blood,
right.
Which is a very poetic line, and that's why I remember it. And so with that, he became the ultimate foe, and Mark even points that out. And so I'm really glad that they had that verbal exchange.
Yeah.
That was then only mirrored at the end, because then what Mark pointed out in Angstrom ultimately happens to Mark. Now, I don't see him going and holding anybody hostage.
No.
Okay. Right.
No.
Especially little babies, Threxon or not, still a little baby. But he did make a choice. And I really see it just with the self-justification that occurs. Because that is such a classic thing for anyone to do.
Yeah.
Like at any extent of anything morally or ethically wrong that you do, when you tell a lie, there's
Mhm.
something in you that says, this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
This is my justification, because you have to at the moment you have to just self-justify is the moment you know you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Yep. Exactly.
So I thought that all like it considering that the first half of this season aired in November of 2023, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. We watched 2 episodes in March 2024, and we're watching the last 3 episodes in January 2025. The way episode 8 should not have worked for us the way it did.
Yeah.
But for some reason, through all of that time, and neither one of us did any rewatching.
No.
Okay.
No.
We neither one of us did any rewatching. We don't listen to Invincible spoiler class. So the fact that we were able to keep that thread and still be impacted by that overall arc,
Mhm.
especially with the Angstrom stuff, because like that's part of the reason why we stopped watching, because it was just like, well, what's going on? Like, what was the first part of this whole season about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're nowhere
Yeah.
near it. So it's just I was kind of shocked, and I on Sunday after watching this and being like, wow, that that worked so well.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's because we just needed a break from it all. And we went into this willingly, and it just we're like, we have the time, we might as well.
Yeah.
We've or finished what we started with it, and I'm so glad we did. I am curious about season 3. I know it's coming soon, and I have no idea how it'll work, and no promises to our listeners about covering it anytime soon, but it is a testament to the writing and the structure that
Yeah.
both of us were able to enjoy these final 3 episodes the way we did, despite all of the time gaps in between watching this whole season.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. It definitely. You're right. I mean, for me, the same thing. Things did come back. As I was watching it, and it was that last episode, as I said at the outset, it was very impactful, and it's why I just wanted us to, you know, work our way to that instead of just spilling it all at the beginning of our analysis tonight, because it was a very effective episode.
Yeah, I mean, even Alan worked
Yes.
for humor, and I don't say that as if he's never worked, but I was very delighted
Hmm.
that how sparingly they used him.
Hmm.
And also the he is so needed in the
Yeah,
show.
he is. He is.
Because here's spoiler alert, he's actually funny.
Yep.
Okay? There's not a lot of humor, okay? And the people who I think the writers think are funny, they're not actually funny. It's kind of lame. But Alan is funny, because he feels like he feels like a character who you often get who but I don't know how to describe him, but I love now how he willingly finds himself in a Viltrumite prison so that
Yep.
he can help Nolan escape, so Mark will come and all this. It's the best.
Yeah, it was the best. It was the best. And even like whenever when Alan and the Immortal like get into it, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's between the writing and also I think it's just Seth Rogen's delivery. I think really this what makes his character work so well.
Yeah. Yeah, the voice acting is very good. I will admit it takes me out though a little bit, like whether it's Seth Rogen or even Sterling K. Brown,
Mm.
where I'm like, I know your voices are so distinct, and
Yes,
I mean Stephen Yeun has a distinct voice as well.
he does.
Which by the way, I can't believe Will's list didn't include his new movie that's coming out with Kristen Stewart, which is the most bizarre movie. Like, have you heard about this?
No,
Oh my God. Hold on. I gotta bring up IMDb. You
yeah,
talk to the people for a moment.
yeah. No, this is. I did not notice Steven had another film coming out this year, or is it 2026?
No, it's this year. It's this
Oh,
year. It's coming out soon.
okay.
Uh,
Um,
Love
nah.
Me. Love Me. Okay. So
Hmm,
here's the courtesy of IMDb. We're not
Okay.
sponsored by them, but courtesy of them. The plot is a post-apocalyptic romance in which a bio or Buoy and a satellite meet online and fall in love after the end of human civilization.
Huh.
Okay, it is advertised so well. Because it makes you feel like you're watching like those vloggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
basically these two machines find curate all of these images from vloggers
Oh wow.
and
Huh.
live out the human experience of falling in love through this through these vlogs and everything.
Huh.
So
Wow.
bizarre.
That
Bizarre.
is
But
very bizarre. No, yeah, no, I just remember Stephen Ewan and like he was in the film in Nope with the Jordan Peele film, and that was one I really enjoyed. But no, when's the release date for this film?
it's sometime this month. January 31st. Yep.
Okay. Huh. I
Yeah.
missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Um but yeah. He Walking Dead. Duh, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have much more to say about Invincible
No.
other than if anybody else stopped watching, if you have time, throw on, finish what you started. It's
Yeah.
well worth it.
Yeah.
Um, and we will see if
We
and when
will.
we get to season 3.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes out in February, but it may be June or July. when we get to it, but we'll get to season 3, and we'll binge it. I think that is the way to watch this series. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week we'll talk more about TV shows and what's ahead, and we'll be returning to 2024 again next week. And this one I don't think will be as nice of a conversation about, but yeah, we like we said, we have to finish what we start. And
We
when
do.
Will makes me watch Cobra Kai, I have to finish what I start. So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a way, I caused this because I was the one who started watching Cobra Kai all the
Yep.
way back in season 1 when it was still good.
Yep.
And boy,
Yep.
have the mighty
You
fall.
are you are responsible for this one, my friend. I just I just have to make sure I get you back for that now that it's like it just needs to, yeah. Yeah.
We'll get through it. It'll be
We'll
fine.
get through it.
It'll be
Yeah.
fine. It'll be fine. It'll be 5-minute conversation next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. On that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on all the socials at Will M Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And please follow me there too at SJ Belmont, SJBLMONT, and follow our crew on Twitter at Cena Nerd. Find us on Blue Sky at Cena Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Threads at scene_n_nerd, and visit our website, www.scenanerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.